Well, welcome to our October meeting. Got my cat playing here. The first thing is we want to present Mark with his plaque for his service as president last year. So you have a picture of that, Jeff?
Yeah, 1 second. I gotta switch to it.
Is Mark with us tonight?
I am with you from Florida. And,
Okay.
I did get the plaque, so it arrived in good shape. And I don't have it with me right now. It's back in the back room, and my wife is actually going through a different Zoom meeting with a different group, so I can't barge in there and get it. But
Well, we're much appreciative of your service last year, and it's nice that you can join us this year on a Zoom meeting and still be part of us.
yeah, I looked around for a camera club down here, and the closest one is like 60 miles away. So I'll be joining you by Zoom, and maybe I'll find something a little closer.
Yeah.
Yep, that's exactly what it looks like.
Yep.
Or you'll have to start your own, Mark.
Well, I gotta get moved in first.
I think our next news is that the Pewaukee Library is having a photo contest. Do you have a link to that, Jeff? I probably have a link in my email that you sent.
Yeah, I don't right now.
Okay. Well,
I
it
have
is
to
the
dig it out.
Pewaukee Library, and they are offering some cash prizes to, I think, what are restaurants in the area. The rules were pretty simple. You did have to have a library card. So if anybody's interested in doing that. And the Cedarburg Chamber of Commerce wanted to use some of our Cedarburg Christmas photos. So if you've got any Cedarburg Christmas photos and you're interested, then maybe you could let me know, and I would get in touch with that lady and give her your name, and you could send her what you've got. She does have the ones that we've got on the web, and I know I had some there, Jesse Buchholz had some, and Brian Latimus had some. So I don't know if all of you are willing to share them with the Cedarburg Chamber of Commerce. Apparently they're going to have a little ad in that MKE magazine. So there would be a little notation of who the photographer was, but there'd be no money involved. So I'm just passing that along. And then we have the WACO competition deadline is coming up. That is October 18th at midnight. And if you've not ever entered a WACO competition using the WACO downloader or uploader, you need to register ahead of time so that you're all set to go when you're ready to enter. Did you want to say any other words about that?
Nope. Pretty much, yeah. It takes us a day to 2 days to get you approved. If you haven't already been approved for the uploader. The sunrise sunset has to be your own sunrise sunset, not a filled in sky from a different program. Other than that, it's the same rules. There is a link, and we'll send it out again for watching the competition on Saturday. On that Saturday, I can't remember what date that is, November something, first Saturday at 11:30. So we'll probably put that link out again to everybody And if anybody wants the link to sign in to be able to watch, just contact me if you can't find it. That's about it.
I have a question about the Wacko competition. When you pay by PayPal, it's not linked, I guess, to your images, right? You guys look at the
No.
name.
Right. We just match the name up to the people that have entered.
Okay, thanks.
There's no way to link it.
Jeff,
Will
I
you
think
notify us?
November 7th is what you're talking about, right?
Yeah, probably. That sounds about right.
Yeah, I think you're right, Ian.
Yeah, it is November 7th.
So that's the day you guys are actually doing the judging.
I
Right.
think
It's
it was-
it's the final judging. What we're doing now is the primary judging is done separately, and then the final day will be basically picking out the awards. Because
Gotcha.
there wasn't a way to do the whole judging, so it's just the awards. Should only take about an hour, something like that. That's all it took the last time.
Jeff, would we be able to watch that at a different time?
Yeah, well, undoubtedly, I'll put it online after it's done. It takes me about a week for me to get it uploaded to the Wacko site.
All right, thanks.
Jeff, I have a question about the newsletter. Were those links active in most of the newsletters that people got, or did they have trouble going to some of the websites that I put links to? Do you understand?
Yeah, to be honest, I didn't try any of the links.
Well, to
So
tell
I
you
could-
the truth, I got 4 addresses, and I'm just wondering if people were that conscientious or if they just saw my name and I think I had a link to it. So I've gotten 4 addresses from members already. So I'm assuming
Okay.
maybe they just use that. But other than that, I have no idea whether other people were able to use the links and be taken directly to whatever it's been a while. The pens, the tablets, the Adobe Max, and the Worldwide Photo Walk, which is over. And if I should start putting more links into the newsletter, if that's helpful for most people.
I went to the Matt K pens and tablets, so it worked.
Okay,
Yeah, the Adobe Max works.
okay,
Yeah, I went to
Yeah,
a couple of them. They worked.
okay, good.
Yeah, I would keep putting the links in. I'll say that the digital forum link isn't working. But I've had a lot of problems with that digital forum link. It keeps giving an invalid, so there must be a bad space or something. When they get 3 lines, that's when it tends to be a problem. When it's 1 line, it's not quite so bad. So
Okay, I
And-
think it worked before I sent it, but I don't know. I'll try it again, but you're saying that it's a little, maybe I'll need to move that where there's a longer line length or
Right.
something to
yeah,
that.
because I just tried it and it doesn't work. So there's something wrong with it. And I had problems with the newsletters I sent out from Wacko with it. So
Oh, so it might be,
otherwise, it looks like the rest of them work. And I can send you
Okay.
a fresher link. And if anybody wants to come and join the digital forum on the 4th Saturday of the month between 10 and noon, please check with me or go to the Wacko website under digital forum meeting. And there's a link there that you can sign up and come and participate. We had over 20 people at the last meeting, and it was a good, fun meeting. The 2 hours went really quick. So,
About those links, maybe it's line wrap. if you're using an editor, it may wrap around and,
Right. I think that's what it is. You're right, Peter. And I've been keeping it as one straight line and then I get it to work. But as soon as it wraps, it either is adding a hyphen or a space or something in, and then it makes the link go bad.
usually it's the carriage return.
Yeah, right.
Because I can add links to photos that we take on the website as well, as far as the group photography and or if we have some other things. But I just figured that was a quicker way for people to access that, because to copy and paste is sometimes beyond my skill level. Don't
Right.
ask me if this works, but
Ellen, when you put in that link, when you go to edit or go into that text and make it into a link, if you actually paste in the straight link into there, then it generally will work. And not just convert the link that's showing. Use the straight link that's out there.
I usually go into the website, take the link that's off the bar
Okay.
at the top of the page, and then I put it in there and then place it. So I'm still working with the interactive PDF quality of these
Yeah.
things. So
Okay.
it'll take a little time to maybe experiment with it.
Yep. Okay.
Well, we did have a field trip last month. It was raining that night, and I know I stayed home, but Ken did go. Ian, you went, and John, didn't you go?
Yep. Those were the
Yep.
three.
And Jeff, you've got some pictures from that?
Yep.
So,
Let me,
so we all
I-
should have gone because they got some good things. I know I saw some of them out there on Facebook and they were pretty good.
I was on the fence going all the way up until about 10 minutes before I left, and I'm glad I went. I had other things going on earlier in the day, and I was just like, I don't know if I'm gonna go. And I was like, I decided, you know what, it's raining, so maybe it'll be good some reflections. And I think I sent some to Jeff that have reflections. So
I'm glad you came, Ian. It was, you were inspiring with those.
yeah, I
It
had
is
Ken
good
and
at
John
finding
back
those
down, all the way down on their knees trying to take pictures.
Okay, well, here it is. I've got it as a short video. It's 2 3/4 minutes. So here it is.
Very nice. Very nice.
Yep.
Say
So
the
yeah,
music
there are
wants
some
me to go-
interesting photos.
Yeah, the music wants me to go crack a bottle of wine, I think.
I still have a landline, so. So I want to talk about the President's Challenge. So every month there's a new challenge. So the first one kind of got sprung on everybody. It was, you know, finding old things back in your archives of your photos, maybe reworking them and showing us what you did. And then for October, we were looking for black and white. And coming for our November meeting is fall color. So if you're out there taking fall color, please think about sending an image to Ellen for our print newsletter, you know, this thing that she sends us, and sending to me something that we can share with everybody here at our Zoom meeting. So I do have some images that were sent. First, I guess I should thank Jeff Ewig, who did submit black and white for our newsletter. I knew he did black and white, so that's great that he was able to share that with us. And now I'm going to try sharing the black and whites. And then we had two people who sent us images of things that they found from their archives. So I'm going to give this a try, Jeff.
Okay, go for it.
Share screen.
Yep.
Here it is. Let's see here. So this came in from Joe Higdon. And this is one of those photos where he reworked it. Now, where does the next one come from? Oh, look at that.
Are you showing the right screen?
I am not. So this was his original. Oh, it's gonna open it here. And then, oh, I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
so far we're just seeing your Finder window.
Oh, you don't see
No.
Joe's for,
Jane, I think you shared the app Explorer as opposed to your full screen.
okay.
I think that's what happened.
Yeah.
It says I'm screen sharing.
You're screen sharing, but all we can see is your Explorer with the thumbnails, basically.
And you don't see the four,
No, just hit stop screen share.
okay. And try again.
And yeah, hit screen share again or share screen and hit the first one that says desktop.
It says screen whiteboard. I don't see anything that says desktop.
I think it's screen, Jeff.
Then it's screen, yeah. Now see, I get desktop. Yeah, there we go. Now we got
Now
it,
we see
Jane.
it. We
Okay.
see your whole desktop now. Right now we're seeing the jets.
Okay, so this is the four originals, Joe,
Right.
and this
that's
is what
the-
you did
that's
with
the
them.
modified one. I know not everybody's enthused with Luminar, but this was literally the first week Luminar came out, so I had to try it. And these are the clouds that I put behind the four jets. So compared to the original, I think it looks a little better.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah,
Now,
and
Yeah,
this is the first cactus.
right, that's a cactus in Phoenix. That's the original. And that's modified with clouds through Luminar, converted to black and white. It's just a modification. I think I like this one more, but that's my opinion. And
Now
that's
is
that's ones that's all I sent to you, Jane.
yep. And Priscilla, are you there? So Priscilla found this and worked on it. Jahuli. And then we got this one in. And is this yours, Roger, or is this yours, Sid?
This is mine, Roger.
This is Roger's, black and white. Very nice detail on that. And then this came in from Sid.
Yeah, that's mine. Yeah, I was.
Where were you, Sid, when you took that?
Actually, we were. I forget the name of the coffee place down on. Is that Altera or something?
Oh,
on the lake.
Collectivo now.
Collectivo. That's right.
on
And
Lincoln Memorial Drive.
yeah, it was one of the assignments for my 52 frames group. And so I was panning a lot of cars and motorcycles and things like that. And as you know, it's not always easy getting somebody in focus, but and then I wanted to turn it into kind of a high key type picture to get a lot of the riffraff out of it. And I was kind of happy with the way it turned out.
Yeah, I think it turned out well. It's a good subject matter for being black and white too, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, Sid, what shutter speed did you use?
Oh, I forgot that this was going to be on tonight, and I can take a second and look it up. Hold on a second. It was most likely, I would say, was either a 15th or a 30th.
Thank you.
That's what I usually do.
Okay, I'm gonna stop sharing. Thank God.
Okay, we're warned.
So now everybody kind of understand that they, I'd love to see things sent to Ellen for our fall color for November and things sent to me for fall color for November. And
Jane, when do you want those by?
well, certainly the Sunday before our meeting. But I mean, if you've got them, you could send them right away.
And I need mine the week before that because I start working.
Yeah.
Now, so
Yeah, so Ellen needs hers
like the
sooner rather than later.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I can put a link with my name on it and the date that I need it in the newsletter also, but I will need it because I usually send out the newsletter the Wednesday before our meeting. So I would need it probably the Sunday, Monday, week before Jane needs them.
And coming up, we still we have one person for show and tell in November. So we still need one more volunteer for that.
Also, did I get the name wrong? Because I see that Sid is doing show and tell rather than Chris. I had Chris Ladowney in the newsletter. Did something happen?
Tonight it should be Chris and it should be Roger.
No, I'm not doing it. Sid isn't.
No, Sid, were you signed up for November?
No.
No, okay. I'll have to check my notes, Ellen, for who's for November.
Oh, okay. I just didn't want to have.
I'm signed up for November.
Okay, it's Bernard Hall. for
Bernard
November.
Hall is signed up. Yeah, that I know, but we.
For the record, I'm okay for tonight. Chris.
Okay, Chris, yeah, I just wanted to make sure they're prepared so that it's,
And Roger, you're prepared?
Yes,
Okay, so we're good for tonight.
and we need one more for November so far.
Yeah,
One meeting at a time, right?
one meeting at a time.
No, one meeting previous.
How many
So
fall
we'll move on to tips and hints, then show and tell the program. So Jeff, you're up again.
I'm up again. Okay.
So tips and hints tonight is if you change your software platform, what happens?
Yep. This. Nothing. Okay. Oops, that's not the program I need. That's for later. Here it is. So I expanded it a little bit, and I'm going to go through this really quick. But one of the things that will help you when you do switch is to have your files organized. So to organize, I want to talk a little bit about organizing your files. An important part for any of the programs that you're using is to keep all the image files in one location, keep them all in one main folder, and keep them all on an external hard drive, not an internal one, because the internal ones get used so heavily that you should really save the internal drives for just your apps and your operating system. And you should also have a second external drive for backup. I've been getting a lot of people lately that have come to me with, I lost all my photos on my main drive. Can you recover them? And I had one customer that we had to go the ultimate route and send him to Drive Savers, and it cost him $2,000 to recover his images because he didn't have them anywhere else. So having them on a second drive or more helps. And in any of these programs, one catalog is usually all you need. So this is the way I organize my images. I have an archival folder called Photo Archive A that holds all my main images. Then I have another folder that's Archive, which you can see has all the different categories. Now, I go by category, I don't go by date. And I go category and then subcategories. And when I get enough, like this one here is probably enough that I turn that into a subcategory. And the alternative would be to, instead of doing categories, you could do dates, and that's a whole nother topic on how you can organize your stuff. In Lightroom, once you have them all in one place, you just need to click Add, and it will add it and make it one catalog. So here's my photo archive catalog. This is what it looks like in Lightroom. So you can see that they look just identical. If you could see you could see the hard drive over here, it's 47. So it's 47 archive, and then there's all the different subcategories. If somebody who has a question, just ask, because with my current setup, I can't see anybody. Now, Lightroom stores the catalog in your picture folder normally. Option 1 would be to leave it there. Option 2 would be to put it in your photo archive drive with your images. If you do option 2, I'll just let you know that it runs a little slower. Now, in On1 Photo Raw, they do it just slightly differently. You can go to create my catalog and hit the plus up here, and it basically does the same thing. As it, you make sure your photos are all in one spot. You hit the plus, or you can just browse them and then you go to where it is. And then you can see here, when you browse, you get the same identical look. So you can sort of see there's a pattern going here. So on One Photo Raw, if you point it with the browse, it's looking at the archive and seeing all your photos laid out here. Here's what it looks like on One Photo Raw with their catalog system, or just actually browsing for it. Now, a third one is Luminar 4. Basically works the same way, except that you click the plus sign and then you can add those folders and it will import it into Luminar's catalog. And again, Luminar looks the same thing as what you have. So the whole thing with using either Lightroom, Luminar, on One Photo Raw is that you need to have all your photos in one spot. And as long as you have them all in one spot, you can switch out of any of these images. I'll skip over this part because it's more of importing, but when you do import, use card readers. Don't do it straight from the camera. You want to import it into a folder on your desktop or directly into Lightroom. And you can follow Lightroom's dialog box. Let me sort of skip ahead here. This talk goes into a lot of different things. I'm big into backup, so everybody needs to make sure you back up. This is my system on how I import and bring it into Lightroom, but it would work the same for any of the programs. So one thing to remember, it is not if a hard drive will fail, but when. And they do fail, even solid state hard drives, just not quite as often. When solid state go, though, I will warn you, they go, there's no coming back. You can't pull any images off of a bad SSD. Now that your files are organized and backed up, if you're using Lightroom and you're thinking of getting out of Lightroom, two things that you need to do. First is to make sure that you're automatically writing changes into the XMP catalog and that you include developed settings in the metadata inside all these files. Then you select all your photos and click Save Metadata to File. And basically it's saving everything that you've done in Lightroom to that file. And then you can stop using Lightroom and switch to any other program as long as you have all the stuff in one location. If you have it all over the place, it's a lot more problems. So the biggest thing, and that's why I started in the beginning, is you want all your stuff under one basic location.
Jeff, will Photoshop work the same way as setting up Lightroom?
Yeah. Photoshop you have to make sure that when you're using Camera Raw, there it generally is writing the metadata right to the file, or it's writing to the XMP file.
All right, I just am so used to Photoshop that it's
right.
Yeah.
So then you just end up doing like I have. You just really need to keep them all in one spot. That's the important part.
Jeff?
Yep.
When I've put metadata in a photo and I copy it over to an external hard drive or whatever, the metadata is lost. And I'm not using the sidecar stuff. What am I doing wrong?
It depends where you're writing it in the metadata. Some programs can't read the metadata, others can, and so you need to well, let me go back to sharing here.
Could this be another topic or something? I don't
Yeah,
want-
probably. You've got on the side of, say, Lightroom, this is all your metadata info, and depending on where you put stuff will depend on what people can read, because they can't sometimes read all of this, but they can read some of it. So, and certain things they can't read. In Lightroom and Photoshop, they can't read the pick flags, but they can read the stars and the colored labels. Generally, the star ratings are right here. Color labels will show up right here. And you usually can read titles and captions. So On1 Photo Raw, Luminar, and certain other basic programs usually can see these four things.
Okay,
So
thank you.
In Lightroom, does that write directly to the file, or is it kept in the XMP file?
well, if it's a raw file, it goes to the XMP file. If it's DNG, a Photoshop file, JPEG file, as long as you had that one thing checked that said that it writes it to the XMP or saves it to the file, then it will be saved to the file. So that's why before you switch out of Lightroom, if you're going to stop paying for it, you want to make sure you save all that metadata specifically to the file. Don't wait till after you stop using it, because then it's more of a problem.
Jeff, I don't
'Cause-
generally use Luminar 4 other than an external editor, but when you point Luminar 4 to a folder, does it recognize the XMP file, or does it not when you point it that way?
Yeah, it will recognize an XMP file. Now, you just have to be careful that if you're using Lightroom and then you do something with Luminar outside of not going through Lightroom, then you have a problem in that Lightroom doesn't know what you've just done. So this can get really tricky. So you always want to do the edit in Lightroom and go to Luminar or On1 Photo Raw and that when you're in Lightroom. So
I will mention that if somebody ever converts completely to On1, as far as I understand, it will convert your entire catalog from what you've done in Lightroom and turns it into a picture that looks just like what you've done in Lightroom in a catalog for On1.
Yep. So you can switch to any of them. It's just that you need to make sure that you have the metadata all up to date and in the individual files. And if you don't have that one box checked, it's not writing it to the file, it's saving it in the catalog for Lightroom. So then when On1 looks at it, it's not going to see all those changes. So you got to make sure you save that metadata to the file before you try any other program.
But is it saving it to the file if it's a raw file?
Yeah, well, it saves it to the XMP file if it's a raw file.
Okay, but that wouldn't, but you're saying that Luminar would see those if it, let's say you have a raw and you point it to your folder where all your raw files exist with your XMPs, it would see those XMP files.
Yep, as long as you have those boxes checked, you need to make sure that it's it's checked here in Lightroom that it's automatically writing those changes to the XMP file, and also including the develop settings and metadata is inside the JPEG, TIFF, PNG, and Photoshop files. These two need to be checked. If they're not checked, then it's saving everything in Lightroom's catalog and it's not transferred to the file. And if you check it late, then you need to also select all those images and save the metadata to file so that it does get saved. So the important part is making sure these two are checked before you start using a different program.
Jeff, should you have these boxes checked even if you're not going to a different program?
Yeah. I recommend having both these checked all the time.
Okay.
That way, if something happens to Lightroom, all that information is in the files itself and not sitting in the catalog. Because you can always start a new catalog, but if you don't have all this information in the file, it's lost. And you still have the original file, but you'd have to reprocess it again. Okay?
And when you say, Jeff, all your files should be in the same place, if you have files on several external drives, that's not in the same place, correct?
Well, it's better if you can have them all in one spot under one folder. And now, if you have too much that it fills up the drive, I have 3 hard drives that I have files of. So that's fine. But because you can get such large hard drives these days, it's better that if you can keep them all in one giant folder, it makes it easier using a different program.
Okay.
So that's why I always suggest put it all, into one folder. I've got everything under Photo Archive A, and that's actually one of 3 hard drives. And then I've got an archive with all my categories, and then I have a working archive which has stuff I'm working on currently, and then I move it over to here. But this way, you've got it all under one drive, and this is an 8 terabyte drive, so you can hold quite a few pictures. I've got 117,000 images in this catalog, or in this set of folders. But I have 2 more drives with another 50,000 in one and 60,000 in another. So, but
Yeah,
you
it's
try
like
to
a
keep them in
backup.
as few places as possible.
Yeah. Well, very good. Any more questions?
I got one. Hey, Jeff,
Yeah.
how do you get to that to check for the that you're using the XMP file and the JPEG and so on?
That's in the. I had it and I closed it again.
That wasn't in the it's not in the preferences, is it?
No, it's in the catalog settings under metadata.
Okay. Okay. Thanks.
Sure.
So show and tell, who wants to go first? Roger or Chris?
I'll go first, if you don't mind.
All right, let's go for it.
Okay, first thing we do is share the screen, right?
Right.
And
hit the green share screen button, and then it's the first window when it opens, the first big button that shows screen.
okay. When I chose share screen, I got Jane's screen, something called whiteboard, iPhone.
Okay, it should be the first one in the upper right should be your main screen.
Upper right, it says iPhone, iPad. which is
Or
not
upper
mine.
left, I should say.
That says screen. And
yeah,
when I click on
that's the-
screen, that's Jane's screen.
Yep. That's because you have Zoom showing as your main screen. If you shrink down Zoom, then you'll see Jane disappear.
Oh, I got to shrink down Zoom. Okay, down
Yeah.
Zoom. Now there's no share screen. Oh,
before you shrink zoom, hit share screen and pick that first upper left button.
Turn to meeting. So now I'm seeing Jane's screen.
Right.
I get
Now-
galley view. Now I got galley view, so I go to share screen and I get that. I get
Yeah, click on the button, that first upper left button.
share screen, upper left button says screen. Oh, select the
Right.
window or an application you want to share.
Yeah, click the screen button in the middle, right above where it says screen.
Okay.
Okay.
Now
we're
if I-
seeing now we're seeing your desktop.
Oh, good. And then all I have to do is lose this
Right.
and lose that. And now I've got what I want. So I click on this and it'll start the video and you will see it.
We're not getting sound. Oh. Okay. Stop your video. And we need you to stop sharing your screen.
Okay, what should I do?
Stop sharing the screen for a minute. You'll have to go back in and turn the sound on. I forgot to have you do 2 buttons.
Okay. Return to meeting. Select the microphone.
Yeah, it should be at the
That's
very top of
correct.
your screen. It should say you are viewing.
You are screen sharing.
Yeah, there should be a red button that says turn it off.
Okay.
Okay, now hit it again to turn it back on, the green button. We'll get everybody trained yet.
I guess so. I'm sorry about that. So now
That's
we go to-
okay. Not a problem. It gets tricky the first few times.
Okay, now I'm ready to play this thing again and the sound should work.
Nope, we went too far. Turn it off again.
Okay, I'm looking at
Okay,
return to meeting. I can go
yeah, return to meeting.
stop share. There, now I'm back to.
Okay, now just hit the green button again so that you get the panel up that says screen. And before you hit share, you hit the screen button. And there's 2 buttons down at the very bottom that says
yeah,
sound and
Share
computer sound.
Share computer
Yeah.
sound. Now I should have it
Right.
right.
Yeah, and now
Okay.
hit share. And now it should work.
And now I shall lose this and hit this and hopefully it'll work.
Yep. I don't know why we're not hearing any sound. Well, we can just look at the pictures this way.
I agree.
If you want to talk about them, Chris, you can.
There's nothing really much to say. Basically stuff I've taken in the last few months.
Well, someone could sing.
And that's that, sir.
All right. Well, thank you. There are some
But the
nice
music wasn't all
images.
that good anyway, so.
Okay. In a way, it saves me because I would have had to taken out the music anyhow.
Well, there was a super of the music in the first frame that took care of the legal issues, but neither here nor there.
Yeah, well, that doesn't always work well with YouTube.
Question.
I'll mute and
Thank
let
you.
somebody else go now.
Okay.
Chris, where were you with all the pelicans?
Oh, that's easy. I was at Horicon Marsh along Highway 49. I was driving by there and I saw that big mass of pelicans, pulled over and took some pictures.
All right.
Chris, where was the red building in the beginning? With the on the waterfront?
I'm trying to remember. Let me just go play it back real quick and I'll tell you.
Roger, you're the other one that's doing?
Yep.
Yes.
Oh, okay. I can't remember if I made you. I think you're a co-host. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, while you look, Chris, we'll go on to Roger.
Yeah. Go ahead, Roger. You can screen
I'll
share.
go through my training session.
Yeah.
Yeah, for the record, there wasn't any red building that I remember. There were some barns I took, which were near Horicon Marsh, but.
I
Roger,
think that
just
was your
make sure.
screensaver.
Yeah. Make sure when you hit share screen, you hit screen, and then the two buttons on the bottom, check both of those boxes on the bottom of the share screen before you hit share screen.
Okay.
If you've got sound that you're playing.
No, I don't for this.
Okay.
I'm going to talk over it. I'll do a travel presentation on Lyon, France, when I in 2015 when I worked for Manitowoc Cranes. We had a conference in Lyon, France, and I took my wife along so that we could go an extra week after that and go off to Italy. Now, is everybody seeing the emblem for Lyon?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
And like for any good trip, it starts off with our connection in Amsterdam is canceled. And the nice thing in Europe, when they cancel a flight, they put you up in a hotel. Last time that happened in O'Hare, they gave me a blanket instead. So Lyon is on the confluence of two rivers, the Rhone and the Saône. And we stayed in the Bellecour quarter. And there we're overlooking Lyon, and the near river is the Saône, and then the Rhone in the background. And the city has grown up much larger around it, but this is the central part of the historic district. The hotel where we stayed at, we had one of the nicer rooms there, except it was right by the hotel sign, which lit up the room brightly at night. There's a Bellecour Plaza, and there was a palace there that's in the background. Now it's all government buildings. And this is Louis XIV. The opposite direction from our hotel was the Jacob's Fountain, which was quite picturesque, especially at night with the lighting that was on it. And crossing the Saône from where we were at, there are a few churches on the other side and one up on the hill, which is the Basilica of Notre Dame Fourvière, which also is nicely lit at night. And there's an interior shot. Just below that church is St. John's, which has a lot of interesting gargoyles on the front. And of course, while we were there, the company treated us to a wine tasting night of the regional wines in France. And in France, they have a lot of old history and buildings, but they also put in a lot of very modern things mixed in. Down by where the rivers actually come together, there are a lot of very futuresque type buildings. And some of the artwork around, they dressed up this building that is actually a flat wall, and all of the rooms are painted on there with historical people from history, especially those that were in Lyon. Like here, they're showing movie pictures. The development of some of the early movie pictures was there. Some of the development of early photography, textiles, lithography, a lot of scientific type development there. Lyon is also the gastronomic capital of France, and they have a lot of restaurants, a lot of narrow cobblestone streets that are pedestrian only. And there's a neat old sign for a butcher, back from the days when people couldn't read. And my last shot, a English pub, and they advertise beer, alcohol, sports, and rock and roll. So that's all that I have.
Roger, the building that was flat,
Yeah.
all that is painted, even the railings and balconies.
Yeah. Yeah, that whole face is flat. They do a very nice job of making it look like
Trompe l'oeil, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, whatever that,
Right.
yeah, 3D, okay.
right, with very good shadows and stuff like that on the railings.
Man.
Very
Unbelievable.
nicely done.
A good trip.
Yes.
Yeah. Thanks. Okay. Now I turn to figure out how to stop sharing.
The red button at the top of the screen. There you go.
controls,
Maybe they'll let me do it.
maybe. Gallery view. Well, everybody has problems starting to share. Well, it looks like my sharing is gone. I'm just still the presenter.
Jeff, are you around? There we go.
That looks good.
Jeff, you're on mute. Jeff, you are on mute.
Jeff, you're
Jeff is
on mute.
muted. Jeff, you're muted.
Yep, okay. I found it. Found all the buttons I had to hit. Okay. So what are we up to?
We're up to the program.
Up to the program.
Yeah, where we're going to show member images. And
Okay.
so do we have any idea how we're going to do this?
Oh, I got a basic idea. I can actually, let's see, everybody can see my screen, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I can see everybody else. So, let's see. Okay. I'm gonna just turn the spotlights off. All right. So everybody can see it. So what we'll do is everybody can hold up a hand. Since we score everything 1 to 5, you can hold up your hands, one hand, and give us a score of what you think this image should score. And I'll take a look and tell about what the score is. And then we'll talk about how we can fix it up. So we'll start with this image. So everybody give it a score. It looks like I'm seeing 3s pretty much everywhere. Yep. So anybody have suggestions on what they'd like to fix or change to make it a better image?
I would crop off the left side to remove that white. building.
To get rid of this white part?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, that does pull your eye.
I'd
Let's
probably
see.
also pull the top in a little bit because that tree is like just touching. Yeah. Plus it gets that road up to that top third.
Yeah.
I'd take the left side between that bright light and the tree. Does
You'd
that
go
bright?
even farther like this?
Yes.
And I would probably bring up a little more from the bottom here. So now what does everybody think? Does that look a little better?
Absolutely.
It's a little hot on the right side.
Building's a little washed out.
Yeah. Well,
Can you dehaze that a little bit?
Yeah, I'm dropping the highlights down some and see if we can bring up that contrast with dehaze. I can only do so much with it because it's a JPEG, but that makes it a little better. The other thing that a person could do is just even. Go to about there. And not lighten, no, we want to darken.
That helps.
Yeah, that brings it a little better. And then with the color, we can not darken the water, but that just brought back everything.
Jeff, what about just more contrast?
Yeah, okay. And maybe just open the shadows just a bit. How's that?
That's better.
It's looking good. The one thing that bothers me is that light in the lower left. It seems so much brighter than everything else.
Oh, this one here?
Yes, I don't know what you can do with it, but
Yeah,
me,
there's
it's-
not a lot you can do with that one.
Can't clone it out because it'd be weird to
Yeah.
if it's missing.
The blue
But
of the
yeah,
sky
dark.
looks a little too intense for.
Yeah, I was gonna say
Yeah.
warm it maybe. I know it's probably blue hour, but just a little warm. It's weird because it's a JPEG. I'm
Yeah.
used to all my color in RAW.
If I might, the palette of the left side of the picture is so different from the right side, and the lighting is so different. I might even consider just losing everything on the left side to just before the little bright street lights.
Yeah. Hard to say. All the different things that you can try to do. It helps being cropped a little bit more. And with the original raw file, you probably could do more with the sky. I can't do that much here because I can just warm up the picture unless I wanted to paint it in, and it's not bad. I think, yeah, the biggest problem, let's see, we don't have.
What about cropping out the building on the left?
You mean go even farther over?
Yeah. Wonder, I mean, would that be all right? Like crop out the building, but leave the tree? Like a little bit more?
Yeah. You then get that bright spot there, which is what can pull your eye away, maybe up to that point.
Yeah, maybe.
Well, we've given you a couple, whoever's it is, some good ideas on what you might be able to do to help bring it a little better. The big problem, let's reset that, is that this is so bright that your eye gets pulled away from it, even down here. So if you at least crop it to that, either that first point. I like that you got the stars in the lights. You probably could tone this light down to make it, not quite so bright. I like the reflection in here. I like here, and if you can get where you get a little detail in here, I think it makes it a pretty interesting picture. This is just so blown out and so bright that I think it's a problem. Okay, let's go on to the next one. So what does everybody think? Show me a score for this one. I'm seeing mainly threes, a few fours. Okay, suggestions on improving it?
I'd like to see those colors more saturated. There you go.
Yes.
There. I just upped the contrast by +40. I don't know. I don't think you need to do then too much. I would do vibrance maybe just a little bit, but everybody knows me. I like bright colors, so. But it needed a little more contrast, I think, to bring the colors out a little better.
If
I
I
don't
might
think
be,
there's.
I
Yep.
was going to say the left side with that fold in it seems to destroy some of the continuity of those nice
Yeah,
curves.
I
You lost
agree.
that fold.
Okay.
I was going to suggest you rotate it just a little to get it off that axis. I'd leave the fold, but I'd rotate it like, yeah, something like that.
More like that. Let's see if I.
Either that way, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not sure if the other way does it any better.
You're gonna lose that.
Yeah, lose
lack of a better
light.
term, the eye up there, the bullseye.
Yeah. I think I like it the other way better.
Right.
Oops, let's reset.
Yeah. It doesn't need to be much.
Yep. Yep, that and a little contrast, and I think you've got it on this one. I like the colors. And that.
Just click
And
black and white for the heck of it.
Do what?
Just click black and white for the heck of it.
Black and white.
Okay.
You'd need a bunch of fooling around for black and white.
All right.
When you're
Okay.
in color, I noticed that there's white in this photo, and this would be a maker's kind of choice, but I don't think you have white levels that are white. When I look at it, yeah, I mean, I don't know if that might be too far, but just on the white areas itself, now that would be really a matter of what the photographer saw and what they wanted to bring out. But if it was a bright kind of thing they took a picture of, then the whites were just a little low.
Yeah. Yeah, that actually brings the whites almost to a not quite pure white.
I like the
All right.
brighter whites on this.
Okay.
I agree with whoever spoke earlier.
Sure. All right. Onward. Okay. What kind of scores do we want to give this one? I'm seeing 4s and 5s. A lot of 4s. Anything you'd suggest changing? It's hard with a 4 or 5. It's an interesting bird.
Maybe a little more contrast.
Maybe just increase the saturation a little bit.
Okay. The only thing that I always think about, what does everybody think of flipping it like that?
Take the signature off then.
Yeah, you'd have to change the signature, of course. The only reason I like flipping it is that then it gives you room to come in and you get the bird, and this sort of blocks you from going out.
I'd be very persnickety, but getting rid of that little blemish in the bird's beak toward the eye, that might be where the bird breathes, but it does tend to attract
Yeah.
one's attention.
This right here?
Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. I don't know how well I could do that. Whoa, why would you pick there?
Lightroom's clone is so bad compared to
Yeah,
Photoshop.
yeah.
Or VO. either one.
Now the bird can't breathe.
Yep. Now it's going to have to open its mouth. But I like the feather detail. The background is nice.
Little texture maybe, Jeff?
Yeah, I can try it. It's pretty darn sharp. There's some of it, what you're seeing is probably the zoom transfer, because what I see on my screen is pretty darn sharp. So
It looks sharp even over the zoom.
Yeah, does it? Okay.
I like it.
All right.
Yeah, it's pretty sharp.
So one option would be to flip it if you wanted, just to bring it in so that you got more room coming in, but that can just be me. Here's the next one. What kind of score? I'm seeing 3s, 4s, a 5, mainly 3s. Any suggestions on this one?
Pop the color, saturate a bit. Seems a little faded.
Yeah, I'm gonna up the contrast some. And I'll pop the color a little more. Something like that.
That's better.
This is a very good picture, but if you were going to put something in it, you might want to put a highlight in the eye, a catch light.
Yeah. I maybe would almost bring it in just a little tighter on the crop. How about something like that? It'd be more interesting if it was on something other than just this stick, but the background is nice and blurry. The bird's nice and sharp. So it's not bad. Oh, we got to keep moving here. Okay, what does everybody think on this one? I'm seeing 4s, a couple 3s, 2, mainly 2s, mainly 4s and 5s, and a couple 3s and then 2s. Ellen, it's hard. You get your hand too close, so I can't count all your fingers. Okay. Any suggestions on it? I really don't see too much.
Maybe a little dodging and burning.
I was gonna say a vignette.
I mean,
maybe?
that's a maker's choice.
Yeah.
But I'd probably go for a little bit more drama.
A little more contrast.
Yeah.
And yeah, putting a little.
I put a vignette there on the
A little
corners.
vignette. Yeah, I think that draws your eye. It's an attractive.
Yeah.
I'd be tempted to also add a gradient from the bottom up, which is a slight lowering
Okay.
of the exposure.
Yeah, that might not be bad. So if we went up about there,
it's not going to take much.
Maybe a 3/4 of a, maybe a
That's
stop.
better, Ready.
Focuses it on the barn instead of the grass.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, it was a little bright there in the bottom. But I like the detail in the barn. Everything is super sharp.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, just yeah, maybe darken the bottom and vignette the corners. And that works pretty well.
That makes a big difference.
Right.
Yeah.
That should be an ad for metal roofs.
Yeah. Okay, this one. Scores, please. I'm seeing a lot of threes. Mainly threes, a four here and there. Suggestions.
Pop the color a little more.
Okay.
This might be another one that I'd recommend getting kind of off kilter with the crop.
Yeah. Maybe a little more. How about something like that?
I like that better.
Better, yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't make it quite so static. It gives it a little more of a flow to it.
A little more abstract looking.
Yeah.
I tilted a little bit more to get that orange out of the upper right corner.
Okay, how about if we go that far?
Other than your lower right corner, I think that's pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I saw that black mark. I don't like that.
Snuck in there on you.
Yeah. That's not too bad. Let's see, we need to pull that back a little bit.
If in doubt, give it a vignette.
Yeah. Well, we can certainly, vignettes never hurt. I don't know how much it's going to do to this one. Although it does get rid of some of the stuff up in here that's not quite as interesting.
Yeah, I like the vignette part better already.
It darkened that upper right. That seemed to be real bright in that corner. So I like this a lot.
Okay. All right. This one here. Let's see a score on this. I'm seeing threes, fours, fives. Okay. A lot of fours, a few fives in there.
If you could pull some of the detail, I didn't even realize there was a figure in the over in the corner, but if you can kind of see that and then pull some details out in the
Pull some shadows out, yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
There.
Yeah, there's a balance between raising those shadows and making it look fake HDR.
And
Yeah.
That's what you gotta watch.
Oh, sorry. It made the clouds look better to me.
And the lake too.
And it brings out the trees more.
Yeah.
Okay, how about something like that?
Yep.
Yep.
Okay. And maybe just since we've been on that, vignette it just a bit. Get you more for where the sun might be. Okay. What about this one?
I would crop off part of the right side to move the lighthouse off center.
Okay. Yeah, I'm seeing threes, mainly threes, a few fours. So which side would you want to crop?
The right side?
The right side. I could, yeah, the pole's straight at least. Probably a little bit of that. And I almost think a little more like that. Something like that.
Yeah. You're pulled into the lighthouse a little bit more too, so.
Tough because there's a lot of competing vertical lines at different angles.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think part of it needs to be we straighten that wall up. Not going to be able to straighten the lighthouse because that's not straight. There we go. The trouble is now the darn flagpole's crooked.
Oops.
It was a windy day.
Yeah. Well, and it's you never know for sure if the flagpole was straight or not.
could.
There we go. That's a little better, I think.
Something interesting.
You could try doing the lighthouse as one of your center lines by using the tip of the lighthouse and then the window in the middle of the lighthouse near the bottom and center that. That would give you the true lighthouse.
And it would be that one.
Now, what tool is that, Jeff, that you're using?
That's the guided transform tool,
Okay.
which really works nice for straightening stuff up. Yeah, that's pretty straight now. You can only do so much with it. Anything else that we should do to it?
Someone
I would
who,
probably putting grass in here.
Could you reseed the lawn? Yeah.
Yeah, I'd have. I got some grass. Well, actually, there's some good grass over here, so you could actually do that. Okay.
It's peeling.
Jeff, what was that tool you were using? I didn't catch that.
It's the transform tool.
Okay, thank you.
In Lightroom. Okay, this one here.
Need to pop the color more. It's a little faded.
Okay. I'm
Saturate or-
seeing 3s and 4s. Let me see about add a little more contrast to it. We'll add a little color to it. How's that?
You crop some of the top off with that tree stump, or would that be too much?
Can say I like square crops, but I don't think this one. I think this would be better, 8 by 10-ish.
I think the post on the left is distracting. It almost looks like the horse is going to run into that post.
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
Yeah, I was just wondering if we could get rid of that. And maybe come up here so that we still show that it's in water. I don't want to bring it down too much because her whip right here,
Oh, okay.
we don't want to cut that off.
No, it's a good action shot.
Yeah. That's better.
Much better.
Yeah.
So you can just see, yeah, crop out. Yeah, that one set of posts really looked distracting. That
And
looks pretty
since you're
good.
talking about lawns, can you mow that lawn behind her?
Yeah, no, that I can't do. I keep a lot of grass in my files, I gotta admit.
Wouldn't that be trimming or cropping?
Yeah, that could be. Soon we'll just take the grass out and replace it with new stuff. Okay, what about this one?
Needs more contrast.
Okay.
Yeah, more contrast.
I'm
much
seeing
more.
a lot of 3s, so let's see what we can do. Okay. So we'll up the contrast some. I'm going to up the mid-tone contrast, which is the clarity, because that'll sharpen it as well.
And you might want to cut off some of the right side, maybe? Or crop it somehow?
You could almost make it a portrait.
Yeah. I think we could bring it in. Well, I'd almost like to keep it there. Bottom is probably about right there. I think you could crop it about like that. That works pretty well. The eye is nice and sharp, so that's good. Probably drop the highlights just a bit more so that you can get, and it would be better with the original raw that you would probably have more feather detail down in this area.
Yeah.
I can only do so much here.
The bottom is real light. Can you vignette or whatever other tool that was to darken?
Sure.
Do a gradient, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. If I just go to there and then darken it.
Oh, what's that tool called?
That's the graduated filter.
Graduated, all right.
In the adjustment tools up here.
Okay.
And you can, normally, a lot of times you use it for sky, but it also works great for foregrounds, like we've been doing.
Yeah, that's better.
And then, of course, probably a little vignette. Almost everything can always use some sort of vignette.
How does black point enter into some of this? Would you ever use black point or the black, whatever they call it?
Yeah, you can, looking at the histogram here, the blacks are really black. You could bring that up just a bit, and then you could open up some shadow detail. Not too much.
I will mention if you hold the Option key when you click on the black or the white slider, you will see what's true black and what is not.
Yeah.
In many cases, many photographers like just a touch of the black, true black in there. But in terms of white, you don't generally want the white to show up because when you print it, there's no ink on that spot. So it might look slightly different than other places.
Okay.
Yeah. Normally you want to just get it so that I go by the triangle up here because that for me is easier on my eyes. And you can just adjust to see how much black when it's not lit up, then your blacks have some detail. So there's detail all throughout in here right now. If it's lit up, then you don't have detail. And if it, right here, it's just you don't have detail in the blue blacks. Here, it's all the pure blacks. But yeah, if you do hold the Option key down, you can see, and I can slowly bring it so that it brings all the blacks in. Anything that's black here would be pure black.
Okay.
And you can just keep bringing it back. You want to be, I like to be right about in here myself. And then the same goes for if you do the whites, holding the Option. As soon as you got blown out whites, you'll get specks that show up. And you want to just, I like to be just under. So this would have your black and white points set about right.
Just a couple of things that I noticed on this that I would play around with because you never know. The spot that you mentioned that the highlights were a little bright, it's always a smart idea to take that the radiant filter, the round filter, or the paintbrush, and then just do that area only rather than trying to do the whole picture and bring the highlights down. You would find that if you do the whole picture, then you wind up taking too much down. but you can just spot touch where you need to go in and highlight them. And I'll mention one other thing that on this picture, I have no idea how it would work. But if you notice that the greens are standing out or not standing out enough, you can go to that HSL section. And since the greens appear nowhere else on the bird, you can play with the luminance and the saturation of the green colors. Greens and sort of yellows, got to be a little careful because his beak might get a little bit of the yellow. But when you do that, you could bring those up or down to see if you can make that background stand out. Now you're probably in hue, so you're changing the color a little. But in those, you'd be able to either lighten it or darken it to make the bird stand out a little.
Yeah, if you do saturation, you can desaturate those greens to make them look normal. Luminance, you can just darken the greens if you want or brighten it up.
Jeff?
Yeah.
When you did that gradient filter on the bottom, the legs came out better. You can see them now than before when it was all bright around them.
Yep. Okay. Yeah, yeah. It helps to keep this darker down in the bottom.
Remember, if you do have a gradient filter, and let's say you wanted those legs not to get darker, you can click on that gradient filter and touch the one called brush, and then you can take that filter effect out by using the brushes, by either using the minus sign, it will take the brush stroke out. In other words, it will bring the leg back the way it was. So you can actually bring those legs back if you wish.
Yep. I'm not going to get into that because that gets a little too detailed. But that's looking a lot better. I'd probably darken this part of the wing too with the adjustment brush. Just to get that a little darker up there. Yeah, not bad. Okay. Here's an interesting one. So what does everybody give it a score, please? I'm seeing 4s, 5s, mainly 4s, 5s, and a few 3s. I don't have much in suggestions for this. It's can't crop it. The black is nice and black in here, so that's always nice with a fisheye lens.
How about inverting it? The big flower that's upside down might look better if it were right side up.
Or at the bottom.
Yeah, I can do that. Is that better? The other is I can flip it this way.
That might be better.
Yeah, I almost think, having the flower on the top like it was, which is vertical.
Too top heavy,
It's
yeah.
too top heavy. So having it flipped this way does give it a little more of a better base with the other flowers around it.
Would you saturate it a little more or not?
I can add saturation.
Little.
That sort of pops the sky a little bit.
Gives it a little more contrast, I think. Pretty.
Yeah, it's a nice shot. Okay.
Do we like the sun at the bottom like that now?
Sunrise.
Yeah. Yeah, it's still actually with the way it is here, with the sun being here and the ground here, even though the ground is around up here too, I think it still gives you more of a base down this way, and the sun could be rising or setting.
Or you were
Um,
drinking, looking up?
Yeah, that could be.
And you fell on the ground and took a
Right, and you
picture.
took a
Yeah.
photo. Yeah, camera went off and that's what it captured.
Yeah. Okay, let's move on. What about this one? I'm seeing threes. Pretty much threes across the board. Cat's even holding up 3 paws, so.
Definitely vignette.
Or
I
Jeff,
think the sky casts like
Dark in the
all
sky.
over it.
yeah, if you use a gradient filter on that sky, bring it down and just to see what it would look like if you darken that entire sky.
Sure.
Maybe even mirror it.
Let's see here. Open the yeah.
Yeah, but now
All
the silo got dark too.
Silos too.
Yeah, we're gonna fix the silo. Yeah, we want that. Okay, that got rid of the skylo and the tower. We can open that up just a bit.
Unless you crop some of the sky out.
Yeah. I just wanted to see there. That looks like where you're getting some interesting cloud patterns now up there.
Vignette.
All right. Let me get to the vignette.
Maybe saturate a bit. That-
Now we're getting a little farther. If we up the clarity a bit more, let's see what happens with the haze. It's giving the clouds a little something extra. Probably would have to go in because you
But
can
it
only
also,
do.
it emphasizes the barn more by what you did with the cloud, with the sky in the background too.
Yeah. Okay, that should. We can lighten the silo just a bit.
Does there seem to be noise in the
Yeah, there's
Hi.
with the extreme adjustments, we're picking up noise because of it being a JPEG. I can turn it down a bit. Doing some of this with a raw file would certainly be better. I think the other thing, just a little bit. So we emphasize the barn. There, how's that? Something like that. Does that improve it?
Definitely more interesting. It's not quite as bland.
Yeah, it'd be nice if there was something on this part of if this was the front face of the barn, it would certainly help a little bit more because it's a little boring here.
Big smiley face.
Or a
Yeah.
go sign or something. That's usually
Yeah.
what I see on barns.
The barn quilts.
Yeah.
Yeah,
put
true.
a mural on it, Jeff?
Yeah. I can't do too much. We're getting late here. Okay, what about this one? Let's see a score on that one before everybody falls asleep. I'm seeing 3s, 4s. I forget the name of the comment. I should know it by now. I've seen it enough.
Neowise.
Neowise,
Set
thank you.
Neowise on there.
Oh yeah, it says right there in the file name. All I had to do was look. It's processed nicely. The only thing I guess I would say is something in the foreground would certainly help it a little bit more. But it's a nice typical shot of that comet. Not much more. There's really not too much to do in the processing end. You could maybe bring the whites up a tad more, which make it, and then
You could also photo stack it. You
right.
Stack several pictures.
Yeah.
And I think that at the top, 1/3 from the left, that may be the International Space Station.
No. Could be.
Because that's what I was seeing that was not too far from Neowise.
Okay.
Using an app called Skyview.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it could be. Hard to know at that particular time.
That went
But
right
yeah.
over our house one night. That was going right over our house and I watched it and just in a blink it was gone.
Yeah.
It was really cool. It was pretty
Yeah.
low too.
Yeah, and this comet was a lot of fun. I got a few shots of it. I just haven't done much with it. I couldn't go anywhere, so I just have some trees around it. Okay, we're about halfway through, so we got to speed up a little bit. So, suggest score on this one. 3, 4s, 5s. I'm getting a lot of 4s. Suggestions.
Is this IR?
I think it's I believe it's infrared.
I just cropped the right a little bit.
Okay. Maybe about there.
Yeah, I was gonna say maybe bring the top too. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Is that how you get the white tree effect with the infrared?
That's usually a camera, a converted camera maybe, or just a filter on your camera will do it.
It's probably a
I
7 nanometer filter or camera adjustment.
Right.
Can I
Take an
ask-
older camera and have it converted is what a lot of people do.
Yeah. Where was this taken?
I'm not sure. Don's not. It's Don Gorzak's image.
Thanks, Lake Park, Milwaukee, near the lakefront.
Yeah.
There's a bridge down
Near
there.
the lighthouse in Lake Park down there.
Okay. Yeah, the infrared does a lot of interesting stuff to the trees and the leaves. So and since the infrared doesn't do much to concrete, that came out pretty normal. So yeah, interesting shot. Okay. We got this one. Scores. 4s. Pretty much 4s, a few 5s. Suggestions. I don't have too much.
I like it the way it is.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't even-
This is John Wiley's. He did a nice job with this one. John, you did good on that one. All right. Let's move on.
Thank
Here's
you.
a sunrise, sunset, sunrise. Score. I'm seeing 3s, 3s, 3s. A few 4s.
Lighten up the shadows.
Again, I'd like to see more detail coming into the shadows a little bit, so it's not quite
Okay.
so flat.
Railing bothers me.
Yeah, that was bothering me a little bit too.
And
All
in
right,
the
let's
sky, detail in the sky.
right about there. So for the sky, what I'd probably do is a graduated filter to bring in the detail in that. Probably down to about there, but we got to go to, oh, not quite that far. Okay. About like that, maybe. I would probably do that. About something like that.
That's better. Gives it a little more clarity.
Yeah.
Okay, and then of course, oh, not too much. Fingers are starting to slip. How's that?
That's pretty.
Yeah. Okay, on to this one. Scores. I'm seeing 3s, 4s, 3 and 4s.
Maybe a little more contrast.
Okay, yeah.
Ditto.
Yeah, and the seals part maybe somehow.
How about a little clarity?
Right.
That, yep.
Yep, that's better.
Open up. Shadows, drop the highlights just a bit. Well, the cropping, wonder if we couldn't do this.
Jeff, hold on the L key, the lights out while you crop. That usually helps me a lot.
I'd crop on the bottom.
Yeah. I think something like that. I was trying to get the eye in the third area, but maybe we make it more of a portrait. What about something like that?
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that's better.
Good.
I think it makes a nice portrait, and getting the third point in one of the eyes always seems to be nice.
I tell you, that green bothers me. I mean, it's probably that chemical they put in the pools. But I
Yeah,
wonder,
It is like that at the zoo. That's the color it is.
yeah,
it's actually probably,
but that doesn't mean we have to keep it that way.
how about if we made it more blue like that? Because we can change that hue a little bit. And then go and just warm it up. That just makes them green. That's probably about the best we could do is turn it from down to a bluish color.
Yeah.
Okay. But I like it closer. It's nice and sharp. The detail in the face, you get all the fur and the eyebrows this way. Okay. Score on this one. I get a lot of 4s, 5s, a couple 3s, a 2, couple 2s, so we're all over the place.
I felt like that sometimes. That's why I like that one.
Yeah. It's interesting.
He's in quarantine.
Quarantine. I like it. He's smiling.
Yeah.
I think not that there's a whole lot. How about something like that?
Yeah.
I think you didn't need all the stuff on the bottom part, and actually tilting it just a little bit seems to be something worthwhile. Okay, next.
I was gonna say, is that Big Bird in his old age with gray
Yeah.
hair?
Scores on this one. Oh, we're all over the place on this one. I'm seeing 2s, 3s, and 4s, and a 1.
I think, yeah. I just like this contrast in there.
Yeah.
I would maybe saturate it, more contrast. That brings out the reflection more. That's too much.
Well, you know me, I like saturation.
What the saturation.
So do I.
You know, I just wonder
where your eye goes at the bottom. I mean, it's just really where your foot and the top and the left end up being lost.
Yeah, it needs to be cropped like that. Yes, that's better.
You know, I almost am wondering the reflection down on the bottom is more interesting than the top. Something like that, maybe?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. Can you bring down the highlight just a little to bring out the detail on
Sure.
the grass up above?
Yeah. There, how about something like that? That's a little more interesting. The grass at the top was bothering me.
Interesting.
That puts it closer to a 4 for me. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
I saw the
See?
potential.
Yeah. There's always potential. It's just a matter of how far to crop sometimes.
Yep. Yep.
Okay. This one.
Crop it. Saturate it.
Okay.
Clarity.
And vignette.
All of the previous that we've done.
Same thing we've been doing all along, huh?
Yep. But it's kind of good because then you realize that you have a good photo to start with, but by cropping it and taking care of getting rid of extraneous stuff, you really focus on the important part.
Yep.
It's a really good photo of the bird.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's nice and sharp. And they don't sit very long.
No.
I mean, it's super sharp all the way through. You got a nice highlight in the eye.
Anytime you can get a hummingbird, you want to, and you get it nice and sharp like that, I would crop all the way in on that.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. You could see all the details and the feathers. Yeah.
Okay. So that's about where we're at. All right, this one. What kind of score on that? I'm seeing 4s and 5s. I don't have really. I think it's a 4 or a 5. It's a really nice shot.
The one thing that bothers me is the foreground gates being out of focus, and
Okay,
they're
interesting.
kind of bright.
And I don't really have a problem with that because I'm more drawn to the teal and the pink. So it just, I sort of bypass that slightly ephemeral, earthy or gate in the front.
What if we cropped it though like that? Does that help?
I like the crop.
Would you make the colors a little deeper maybe?
I like the crop.
Yeah, the crop is good.
Okay, it is.
Yeah, maybe like that. That brings out the lights and the shadows a little bit better. And
That's about, I think, the best we can do. It was a pretty good shot to begin with, but yeah, I think I almost like the gate out on the bottom.
And
That's
can you make
interesting.
the upper right-hand sky a little more detailed? Is that possible?
No, not that easily. You could with some work. And this one, I don't think I'd really vignette.
No, then you might lose the hot pink focus.
I think it's better without the vignette.
I don't like
Yeah,
the vignette on
yeah.
that one.
I think we'll keep it the way it is. I think that's good.
You guys should have come out on the field trip to Milwaukee.
Yeah.
Oh, and told you what to do.
I told John and Ken to get down and take reflections.
Yeah. Yeah, you got a lot of, you did a lot of good stuff. Okay. This one. I'm seeing 4, 5s, 4s. A lot of 5s.
It gets a 5 just for the subject matter. I love it.
Yeah.
Leave it alone.
Yep. There really isn't anything.
Yeah, I was going to bring it home.
Yeah.
I like the soft pastels in it. I think that's good the way it was.
Yep.
The only thing I would do is I'd crop it a little bit on one side to move the spider off center.
I like the.
I like the symmetry.
I
think
would leave him centered.
Yeah.
Yeah, there really isn't
More
with his
threatening.
legs as long as they are, they're pretty much
Yeah.
there isn't much you could crop a little bit off on this side, but I think I like it being centered myself too.
How about flipping it vertical? Yeah, someone already went to crop and vignette school on this one, so.
Yeah.
That's
How
a
about
really
flipping
neat
it vertical?
spider, man.
Yeah, I'd leave it.
Okay.
Yes,
I've heard
perfect.
enough saying and we're getting late, so suggestions on or score on this one first. Let's see. Oh boy, we're all over the place on this one. 3s, 4s, 3 and 4s.
It's a little
I like
faded contrast.
because
Very-
it reminds me of a Hopper painting. So it has a very painterly quality to it, in my opinion.
Take off the
I'm
lights on the
thinking,
left side.
yeah,
Thinking lessen the brightness of the lights.
yeah, we probably can do some of that.
But the construction barrel scream Milwaukee.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's see if we can open those shadows just a bit. I took a little of the green out because I thought it's a little, I know there's sodium vapor lights, so they do make a green, but I took
Just-
some of that out.
Gee, Jeff, crop it.
Just as a matter of explanation, I use Nick Analog Effects to put the green in.
Oh, okay.
So that's why it's green.
Well, we'll put it back in for you.
Jeff,
Ian,
crop
you were gonna.
crop the lights off the left, like in between the light and the Milwaukee Public Market sign.
Okay.
Yeah.
So do something like that.
Yeah.
Would we want to just come down about here, maybe? No.
That's at least part of the image that I was like more drawn to.
Yeah. It does get rid of those bright barrels that are right hitting you as soon as you come into the picture. And yeah, Sid, I think you overdid the green just a bit, but if that's what you're going for, that's fine.
That's
I mean,
okay.
yeah. But you might, yeah, get rid of some of the stuff on that left side. Okay, we got two more. Ooh, nice bluebird. Right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, score on that one. I'm seeing 4s, 5s, 5s, 4s. Okay. I can't think of too much to really do with it.
Enter it in nature.
Yeah.
Leave it.
No, I wouldn't enter it in nature.
Oh, that's right. Hand of man.
Yeah.
There's a little too much hand of man there. No, nice shot. Okay, last one. Scores on this one. I'm seeing 3s, 4s, 3 and 4s. Yeah, it's an interesting shot. Let's see here. I
Shit on the
think
right.
I'm not sure if I want to. I almost think get rid of that.
Maybe darken it a bit.
Well, I wanted to bring the white part of the barn whiter.
Saturate a bit.
Yeah. And a little saturation. And I think clarity. That's going to bring the clouds.
Right.
That's looking a little more interesting.
It's looking a little cool. Maybe warm it up a little.
Okay. There we go. The only thing that bothers me is this tree here sort of stops you as you're coming in to the photo. But I don't think flipping it's going to do it either.
Yeah,
I
it
like
does.
the entrance here now works a little better.
Yep.
Jeff, is it straight?
No, I think it probably could use a little straightening. Right. There. How's that look? That looks a little better, huh?
Would it help to crop over to the tree? I mean, from the right-hand side? There you go.
Yeah, that probably helped. Yeah, that gives it a nice border.
Yep.
I think that's good.
Yeah. Okay. That's the last one. Whew.
Finally.
Okay. Well, everybody, thanks for sending the images in. Now, this will be put on YouTube, so if you want to see the corrections, you can go onto YouTube and find your photo. And if you want to make those changes especially if you work with the original raw file, you'll certainly get, be able to do more than what we could do here. But,
Well, I think it was very informative and maybe a little easier actually on Zoom. We could really see what you were doing, what tools you picked, and
yeah.
so
Well, and
think
I could see people raise their hands easier than in a dark room.
Could we have sent you the raw files? I didn't think about.
No, because then I'd have to set up a Dropbox thing for it. We could think about that for next year. Because a raw file, you certainly can adjust farther than you can a JPEG. But it gives you the basic idea.
On that topic, next month we're doing the November post-processing. Who's sending the file out?
I'm going to send the file out, or I'll give everybody that's on the list a link to the file in my Dropbox.
Okay.
I just haven't pulled a file yet. I'll find one this week, and so that I give you guys plenty of time to do it.
Sounds good.
Do we
Ellen,
have a?
you got that list that was on the newsletter was current, right? Yeah.
What list that I send it to?
That is doing the processing for November.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, those are the people who signed up.
Right.
Right. Now, what I want to know is who is going to do, we have Bernard Hall, who is going to do show and tell. Do we have another volunteer tonight?
There must be somebody that wants to do show.
Patty, were you raising your hand?
Oh, Patty, you'll do it?
No, that was Lacey. Don't pay any attention to her.
Okay. I see a hand going up over there.
Sorry.
Patty's been out shooting. Come on, Patty.
I'm just barely getting my camera out of my bag right now, so I don't have much going on.
Well, we'll find somebody. Maybe I can talk Ken into doing it. Ken's up north, unless Peter, you have something?
Peter's doing post-processing too. So if I'm
well, we could stretch Peter's creativity.
I have some Neowise pictures, so I can talk about that.
Oh, that'd be fun. Yeah. Okay. Peter, why don't you do that?
So don't forget that we've got, we need fall pictures for sharing and fall pictures for the newsletter.
How many pictures would you like?
Well, pick out your best fall and send your best fall. 1 or 2.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I mean, I'd like to get 20 from everybody.
Okay.
Wait,
Yep.
I understand that. Why? I mean, I can manipulate the photo to increase. You need like 72 DPI, right, Jane? Is that what you're looking for?
Well, if they send 2100 by 2100, the DPI doesn't matter for Zoom.
Yeah.
Okay, but and I can use on one to increase my pixel size without doing too much damage to the original photo.
Sure.
So
And 2100 is actually a pretty small crop size of your photo. So, or not crop, but pixel wise should be pretty small. It's like a 4:6 image.
Oh, and you don't need anything more than a 4:6, Ellen,
Yeah.
for the newsletter.
no, I don't. I really don't. Yeah, that's about
No.
the right size. So
That'll work for your newsletter too.
okay, so then we're looking at just one person
Well,
to send them?
if a number of people send you images for the newsletter and you can fit them in there, even if it's at the end, that's wonderful.
And here's the thing, maybe if they send them to me, then I can just send them to you. Am I getting too complicated here?
Well, does anybody have any feelings?
Would this be the same image to each of you?
Yeah.
Okay. Doesn't matter to me. I have both emails.
Send it to
Who gets it? Who gets
Send
it?
them
Why
to
don't
both.
you send it to both? That'll make it just as easy.
Okay, and then Ellen and I can make a choice.
Yeah.
Choices.
And Ellen, you
All
can
right.
you got quite a ways you can go on increasing that newsletter in size before we can't mail it.
Yeah,
'Cause
yes, I can. Yeah, you're right. I can I can actually do a couple of them too. So
Yeah.
that wouldn't be a problem. But when is the newsletter is due? No, our meeting is what, November 3rd. And I would need the photos probably by sometime like the 21st of October. I'll send a reminder out is what I'll do. That's just
Yeah.
easier. Yeah.
Yep.
All right.
Sounds good.
All right. Have a
Ellen, you
nice
still
month,
need,
everybody.
You still need everybody's address, is that correct?
Yeah, we still need everybody's address. If you can send it to Ellen, that's
Right.
great.
I
I
have
don't
4
want to
of-
confuse it by sending it to me, because send it
No.
to Ellen and then we'll get it put into our mailing list. I know at one time we had everybody's address and we just lost it with Bill moving on.
You talking about street address or email?
Street address.
Okay.
I
We'll
need
need a
your-
physical street address for the rec department for when we start to go back and meet.
Right, and I have a link under club notes on page 4 with a link to me. So it should be just easy to click on that, and then I've got the address. How is
Right.
Bill doing?
He's doing real well. He's in an assisted living place, and I think he's all moved in. I haven't heard from him lately, but he was doing okay. So
Okay, good. All right. Good enough.
one of these days I'll try to write up an article, but I looked at the
remind
news.
you.
I've got 6 inches of newsletters to go through because they're all paper copies, and he's done so much over the years with this club. So I do want to get something written up about him one of these days. So
Have no problem reminding you every month. So,
Yep.
okay. In the
Yep.
meantime,
Keep doing
everyone,
it.
have a good month.
Yep.
All right,
And don't
guys.
forget to sign up for the digital forum if you want to come and learn some more on Saturdays, the fourth Saturday of the month.
Is that a
Okay.
Zoom meeting?
Yeah, it's also Zoom webinar meeting.
Okay, thank you. And good night, all.
Good night.
Good night, everybody.
Everybody.
I'll leave. Okay.
Hi, John Boy.
Night,